Order. First item we have is bill introductions. Anyone have any bills? Seeing none, we'll move on to budget reports. And we will start with General Government Subcommittee, Office of Administrative Hearings. The agency requests a revised estimate of $1.9 million off from Administrative Hearings Office Fund and 14 FTEs. The governor concurs and the subcommittee concurred with the governor. In 2025, requested $2.1 million off from Administrative Hearings Office Fund, 14 FTEs. This is an increase of $178,782 above the revised estimate. This is primarily attributed to the increase of $138,532 for salaries and wages for the administrative law judges to implement the second year of the two-year pay plan. Governor concurred and the subcommittee concurred with the governor in 2025. Questions on 24 or 25? Seeing none, Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we accept the subcommittee's recommendation for the Office of Administrative Hearings for FY 2024 and 2025.
I have a motion second by Senator Alley. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we will have the Board of Indigent Defense Services. The agency requests a revised estimate of $60.8 million, including $60 million SGF in expenditures and 289.2 FTE positions. This is an all funds increase of $403,438 above the SGF. It's an SGF increase of $176,999 above the 24 approved amount. The revised estimate includes an increase of $226,439, all from special revenue funds in the base budget expenditures. This includes $220,837 from the Indigent Defense Service Fund and $5,602 from the In-Service Education Workshop Fee Fund. These funds are typically used to pay for expert witnesses, transcriptions costs, attorneys, training, and education. The revised estimate includes $176,999 SGF in a supplemental funding to the account for the shortfall of the appropriations in the legislative pay plan. Governor recommends expenditures of $63.8 million, including $63 million SGF, 289.2 FTE positions. This is an increase of $3 million above the agency's 2024 revised estimates. The recommendation includes $3 million SGF in supplemental funding to increase assigned counsel expenditures in accordance with the 2023 consensus caseload estimates. The subcommittee concurs with the governor in 2024. 2025, the agency requests $71.7 million, including $70.9 million SGF in expenditures and 314.2 FTE positions. This is an all funds increase of $10.9 million, or 17.9%, and an SGF increase of $10.9 million, or 18.2%, and an FTE increase of 25 positions above the 24 revised estimates. The request included $6.7 million SGF in enhancement funding for recruitment and retention. It also included $1.2 million SGF in enhancement funding for the agency's next step compensation adjustments. The request also included $2.7 million SGF in enhancement funding and 25 FTE positions for the ethical caseload staffing and support plan. The request also included $475,862 SGF in enhancement funding for basic infrastructure expenditures. The request includes $352,500 SGF for a new and additional lease space. And the request also includes ongoing expenditures, $123,362 SGF for training division for attorneys and non-attorney staff training. The request included $3.8 million SGF in enhancement funding to increase the assigned counsel hourly rate to $140 an hour. The current rate is $120 per hour. The request included $112,790 SGF in enhancement funding for salary adjustments in the legal service for prisoners program. According to the agency, there are currently 4 FTE positions, and they earn approximately $15,000 below the new public defenders with no experience. Governor's recommendation. The governor recommends $60.8 million, including $60 million SGF and 289.2 FTE positions. This is a decrease of $10.9 million SGF and 25 FTE positions below the agency's request. The recommendation includes $112,790 SGF in enhancement funding for the salary adjustment in the legal service and prisoners program, and $3 million SGF for assigned counsel expenditures in accordance with the fall 2023 consensus caseload estimates. The governor does not recommend adoption of the agency's enhancement request for recruitment and retention, $6.7 million, next step compensation for selective salary increases and bonuses of $1.2 million, ethical caseloads and staffing at $2.7 million, basic infrastructure $475,862, or assigned counsel hourly rate increase of 3.8. The subcommittee concurs with the governor's recommendations in 2025. Are there questions on 24 or 25? Rally?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What is the actual FTE? I mean, that they have hired today, not their planned. Do we know what that is?
They have a lot of openings, and I don't know the exact number. I didn't write it on this sheet.
Thank you.
But yeah, there's a lot of unfilled positions, and part of the issue is we're paying private attorneys twice as much as we're paying our on-staff attorneys, and the more of these we can get filled, the better off it is for us financially. Did you have a question? Senator Fagg. Oh, okay. Are any other questions? Seeing none, Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to accept the subcommittee's report for the Board of Indigence Defense Services for FY 2024 and 2025 budget.
Have a motion, we have a second. Second by Senator Petty. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll have the Judicial Council. The agency submits a revised estimate of $721,018, all from SGF, and expenditures in 5 FTE positions. This is an increase of $4,757 above the 2024 approved amount. The revised estimates include an increase of $4,757 SGF to account for the shortfall in the appropriations in the legislative pay. The governor is statutorily required to include the Judicial Council budget in the governor's report as submitted by the agency. The governor's recommendation includes $721,018 SGF in expenditures in 5 FTE positions. Subcommittee concurs with the governor's recommendations in 2024. 2025, the agency requested $727,676 SGF and 5 FTE positions. This is an increase of $6,058 above the 24 revised estimate. This is an increase of 6658 above the 24 revised estimate. The increase is primarily attributed to contractual services, including equipment, rental, dues, and membership and subscriptions. The governor is statutorily required to include the Judicial Council's budget in the governor's budget report as submitted by the agency. The governor recommends including $727,676 SGF in expenditures and 5 FTEs. The subcommittee concurs with the governor. Any questions on 24, 25? Seeing none, Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to accept the subcommittee's report for the Judicial Council for FY 2024 and 2025 budgets.
Motion is second by Senator Alley. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to the Higher Education Subcommittee, the State Historical Society. The agency submits a revised estimate of $9.1 million, including $5.4 million SGF in expenditures and 77.5 FTE positions. The revised estimate is an all funds increase of $222,053 and an SGF increase of $378,394 above the fiscal year 24 approved amount. The increase is mainly due to the capital improvement supplemental request of $790,000, including $725,000 SGF, which is an all funds increase of $350,000 above $350,000 or 79.5%, and an SGF increase of $350,000 above the fiscal 24 approved amount. The increase is due to a supplemental request by the Shawnee Indian Mission roof replacement, which was originally scheduled for 25, 26, and 27. The agency indicates the recent storm damage and the public scrutiny have accelerated the need for replacement. The governor concurs with the agency's fiscal year 24 revised estimates and recommended $9.1 million, including $5.4 million SGF in expenditures and 77.5 FTE positions. The joint building construction concurred, and the subcommittee concurs with the governor's rec for 24. 2025, the agency requested $10 million, including $7 million SGF in expenditures and 74.5 FTE positions. This is an all funds increase of $836,949 and an SGF increase of $1.6 million above the 24 revised amount. The agency's 2025 request includes capital improvement expenditures of $2.4 million, including $2.3 million SGF, which is an all funds increase of $1.6 million, and an SGF increase of $1.6 million above the 24 revised amount. The capital improvements increase is due to the agency's enhancement request to replace and refurbish air handling units and the chiller unit at the Kansas Museum of History. According to the agency, the current units have been in place since 1984 and have reached their service limit. There's also decreases in the agency's request for contractual services of $115,750, aid to locals of $150,000, and other assistance of $600,000, and an increase in salaries and wages $126,442 for fiscal year 2025. The decrease is contractual services mainly due to a decrease in repair and services of $59,000 and other contractual services $40,000. The decrease in aid to locals and other assistance are both due to anticipate reductions in federal aid in those areas, and the increase in salaries and wages is due to increase in group health benefits and anticipated hiring to fill the FTE positions, 206,371. The governor recommends $10.8 million, including $7.8 million SGF in expenditures and 74.5 FTE positions. This is an increase of $853,743 SGF above the agency's request for 25. The increase is to include the chiller replacement in the Kansas Museum of History and the agency's enhancement request, as it was not included in the agency's initial request. The subcommittee concurs with the governor's. Questions? Seeing none, Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to accept the subcommittee's report for the State Historical Society for FY 2024 and 2025 budgets.
I have a motion, we have a second. Senator Alley. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll have the State Library. The agency requests a revised estimate of $6.2 million, including $4.1 million SGF in expenditures and 29.5 FTE positions. This is an all-funds increase of $113,881 and includes a SGF increase of $13,810 above the approved amount in 2024. The SGF increase is due to the agency's supplemental request to account for a shortfall in appropriations from the legislative play plan in 2023 at Senate Bill 25. The governor concurs with the agency's revised estimates and requests $6.2 million, including $4.1 million SGF in expenditures and 29.5 FTEs. Subcommittee concurs with the governor in 2024. 2025, the agency requests $9.7 million, including $7.6 million SGF in expenditures, 29.5 FTE positions. This is an all funds increase of $3.5 million, and including SGF increase of $3.4 million above the 2024 revised estimates. The increase is mainly due to the agency's enhancement request for the state grants and aid to libraries. According to the agency, the current appropriations to the state grants and aid to libraries has remained stagnant at 1.1 million SGF for several years. The two enhancements combined are an increase of 3.3 million SGF and a total of 4.4 million SGF for the state grants and aid to libraries in fiscal year 2025. The agency request also includes enhancement requests to increase the state courier subsidies of $62,180, continue the blind information access program contract of $31,000, and to hire a part-time temporary unclassified audio production assistant position of $29,046. The governor's recommendation. The governor recommends $9.6 million, including $7.5 million SGF for fiscal year 2025. This is a decrease of $91,226 all SGF, below the agency's request of 25. The governor's recommendation does not include the agency's enhancement request for a part-time unclassified audio production assistant position and to subsidize the cost of the Kansas Library Express courier service for the interlibrary loans. Senate Subcommittee on Higher Education recommends. The subcommittee concurs with the governor's recommendations for fiscal year 2025 with the following adjustments. Delete 1.6 million SGF to partially implement the enhancement request for an increase in per capita formula for the state grants and grant and aid to libraries for fiscal year 25. The results is an overall change in the libraries from 28 cents to 30 cents per capita for the total of $253,803 rather than 1.9. Deletion of 972,000 SGF to partially implement the enhancement request for the base amount for the state grant and aids to libraries for fiscal year 25. This changes the base amount from $3,000 per local library to $1,000 per local library for a total addition of $486,000 rather than 1.5 million. Questions? Senator Petty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate what, and I was on this subcommittee, what we've done, but I would remind the senators here that the state aid to our libraries has declined from 2.8 million to 1 million over the last 2 decades. This is one of the lowest amounts appropriated since 1987. So this addition of 1,000, which was, the request was 3,000, really is a move in the right direction, but certainly it would be better, because our libraries, they support, they are investing in the improvements of, this request is investing in the improvements of resources and services to all of our citizens in Kansas. And, libraries are free. We had quite a bit of discussion in our subcommittee about our smaller libraries and how hard it is for them to be open and provide access to resources in their communities. And those resources, help people with their educational pursuits, personal health decisions, professional development, entrepreneurial ventures, and community engagements. So when we look at something that's benefiting every single Kansan from birth through, to over the age of 100, to be able to have this resource free to them, I think it's a great investment. I would prefer to see us going to the 3,000 and definitely see an increase of that, a 2-cent increase from 38 cents, or from the 28 cents to 30 cents is, considering where we went to and where we have come, or what the decrease that we did in the last two decades is a paltry amount to move forward. But so I would encourage our committee to think about increasing that. I know we did have good discussion in our subcommittee, but I certainly would hope that we would think about increasing one of these areas, either the 1,000 per library or the per capita amount.
Other questions? Senator Alley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I remember the 1,000 per library, presently they are getting only, some of the libraries, the smaller libraries, are only getting like $30. So this increases those smaller libraries from everybody gets $1,000. They're not prorated, is what I'm trying to say. Previously they were prorated. This brings them all up to $1,000 each for each library, no matter what the size of the library is. So,
Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And we did have good discussion in committee. We appreciate our libraries, no question about it. That's why we're showing a close to $750,000 increase on our proposal. That was like a 17% increase over what we've been doing. Most of the funding comes from the local level, and the 17%, I think we tried to take care of what Senator Alley said there. Also had a small, the one was 250,000 and the other one was 486,000. So I think we tried to do a good thing to give them an increase. It just wasn't as much. I think the governor's part was like 88%, if I remember right. So, thank you.
Senator McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On that 28 cents to 30, what was the amount that they were asking for? The 28 to 30, they were asking for higher, and I think you raised it from 28 to 30.
67. I believe they were asking for 67.
Okay, thank you. And we gave them 2 cents. Is that correct?
No.
No.
No,
Well, you
Senator
gave
Alley.
it 28
Senator
to 30.
I think the request was for $1, and it's brought, and that was 2/3, 1/3. So 2/3 went to the local library, 1/3 went to the state library, is what the request was. This was 28 cents. We raised it to 30 cents for the local library, and then the other got 15 cents, I believe.
Okay, and then just they requested the 3 and got 1. Anyway, I agree with Senator Petty, and I remember when they had the extreme cuts many years ago, and I heard from my libraries as well. And I was just curious. It seems like we're handing out money right and left, and I wonder if if we approve this today, when we package our final mega bill, if we can at least earmark this to be reviewed again, and then we have a better idea of what our numbers are going to look like, particularly after a tax plan is passed, and then after we've looked at all the other agencies.
Committee, would everyone be all right with that? Okay. Senator McGinn, I think the committee is okay with us looking at it again.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Other questions? Senator Fagg.
Mr. Chairman, I just might comment, when we was talking 28 cents and 30 cents, we was talking per capita. So just to understand what that number is. Thank you.
Senator Petty.
And thank you. And to Senator McGinn's point, yes, it is currently 28 cents. The request was to go to 67 cents. So we are just raising it 2 cents per capita in our recommendation. So I appreciate the chairman earmarking this to look at when we go through the full budget.
Senator Pittman.
Mr. Chair, it's kind of a vacuum walking into this, so coming in a little short in terms of information, and I don't want to slow it down. It seems like the total amount here is not that much to run a full library. I don't understand how much would be going to some of my local libraries. Did anybody get any information like that to see regionally how much how much of the budget for our local library this actually covers?
The main focus when we were discussing this was the little libraries, and Senator Alley alluded to some of them only get $30. And so now all the libraries get $1,000.
Okay, doesn't seem like much. Does that $1,000 make a difference for those little libraries?
When they're only getting 30, it certainly will.
More than 30, okay.
Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to Senator Pittman's, just to review, we did a 17% increase. So compared to what we've done in years past, we've made a step forward. So we do care about them, and not to say how we go forward. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to accept the subcommittee's report for the State Library for FY 2024 and 2025 budgets, and that the numbers to be reviewed at the full budget.
Motion, and we have a second. Senator Masterson seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Senator McGinn?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, we'd like to wish you a happy birthday tomorrow.
Thank you. It's
Thanks for.
It's kind of the last big one, you know? Medicare.
Anyway, thank you for being on today. Appreciate it. Committee, we are adjourned.